Welcome everyone to our Cache County Council meeting.
I know that feeling.
Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. We welcome the audience. We welcome all those who are listening on YouTube, and we are happy to be here. So we will start with an opening from Councilman Carl Ward. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to start, I'd like to do my opening in the form of a prayer, but before I do that, I don't know how all the rest of you felt. As I looked across the valley today, I went out to Hiram and saw the beauty of this valley that we live in, and just noticed people, they take care of their yards, their lawns, their homes, and their places. And I just have to express my gratitude to be able to live in this wonderful, wonderful place. It really is a sanctuary from the rest of the world. And I'm grateful to be able to be here. I'm thankful for all the people who live with us. Our Father in heaven, we come to Thee at the beginning of this county council meeting and express our gratitude for the many blessings which we have, for this beautiful place where we live, and for the wonderful people that reside with us. We're thankful for the peace and the prosperity which we enjoy. We're grateful to Thee for the freedoms we enjoy and being able to be a part of the process of our democratic republic government. As we meet tonight, we ask for Thy guidance and inspiration to be with us, that we might do those things which need to be done, and that we might be able to do so in a way that will continue to bring the peace and prosperity which we enjoy to our valley. And we pray for any who have special needs at this time, that their needs might be met. And this we do in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Are we going to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Ward. We appreciate that. All right, a review of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Right, review and approval of minutes.
Madam Chair, I have a motion to amend the minutes
Okay,
of May 10th, and I have given that proposed amendments to council members. There's two parts. During the workshop on item 4, review of ordinance 2022-11, the minutes said that the county council discussed the proposed changes to county code that would bring the code into compliance with current state law and current county practices in accounting and budget setting. However, that, I believe, if you listen, will be deemed factually incorrect. We actually discussed concerns regarding whether there was sufficient segregation of duties in the proposal and the conflict with state law regarding notice requirements for the tentative budget. So I'd like to make that amendment. The second amendment was under item 10C on pending action when we were discussing amending the 2022 Cache County budget. I said the Council and Finance Director Cameron Jensen spoke to the 2023 budget. We were actually talking about the 2022 budget, and so I'd like to amend it to say the Council discussed questions on budget amendments. Finance Director Cameron Jensen addressed Council questions. And then the second part of that also indicated that a motion that was made died for a lack of action, when actually a second motion was made by Councilmember Carl Ward, which, if you look at the way procedure goes, it was actually a motion to amend the previous motion. So I'd like to strike motion dies for lack of action because that's not accurate, and I don't think it's even found anywhere in Robert's rules, and add to amend the previous motion, a motion to amend the previous motion made by Councilmember Carl Ward.
Those are all
I'll second
time
those
stamped.
changes.
Yeah, so.
I'm sorry?
I'll second those changes.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to amend the minutes of May 10th, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. Thank you.
Madam Chair, do we need now a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the amendment?
Approve the minutes as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain. Thank you. All right, report of county executive. We have no reports today from our county executive, so we'll move on. Items of special interest, we have the State Treasurer's Conference discussion from Craig McAllister, and thank you, Craig, for being here.
Thank you for letting me come, and most of the time I'm in a shirt and tie. So I'm trying to relax a little bit. But we are hosting all the 29 counties in this room in 22 days. One of our festivities that we'd like to invite the county council and their wives to would be to a dinner at the American Festival or American West Heritage. So if I could invite, and notice on the very bottom, we're going to have line dancing. So I definitely want to see all you guys there.
If I was looking for an excuse, you just gave it.
Exactly.
But it's,
Craig, I will have to be there.
Thank you.
so, I hope so. But in any event, Carl's wife is going to be the caller for that event.
Fun.
And so, again, if you'd like to come singly, you're welcome to, but we hope that you bring your other half as well. But other than we're going to be hosting, we'd like to invite, and we just need an accurate count. So the county is doing some of this, but the Association of County Treasurers is picking up the large share of this activity. But other than Nola not being there at my last meeting, this is what I presented.
Well, I'm really giving thought to this dance as to another absentee vote, so
Okay, well, there will be good food.
I'll say yes to food, no to
Hey,
dance.
we're going to do some fun things. Again, in brevity, we're going to have some taste from the cheese, because some people have never had squeaky cheese that's here. We're highlighting activities, not at this activity, though.
I'm having a hard time seeing you a line dancer.
Oh,
Are
me
you
too.
a line dancer?
Well, can you see me without a tie? I mean, sometimes you haven't seen me.
It's always in line.
Yeah. He only dances when he's in trouble, needs to see the, so he doesn't dance.
Well, I went to, I want buy-in from you guys. That's why I went to Carl and his wife to help us. But I'll briefly, since I'm here, those are what I presented to the council a couple weeks ago and you were not here, and so just bringing that. But things have changed, even lowered since that last time. I just quickly give you a report. We're now below 700,000 as far as our delinquent amounts, and over there it was over $1 million. So that was in a 6 week. We brought in some more into the barn. With the current economic situation, I just want to make sure that we've got as much in as we possibly can, because we don't know what's going to happen. We've added the number of unique parcels. We're down to 245. I think it was 317 then. So we're continuing to make improvement. But I'm here. Are there questions that maybe the council would have as far as the treasurer, since I am here?
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you. And please let me know before the end of this month so I can turn in dates. And we just closed the rolls. Our rolls went up in value over $4 billion.
Wow. Awesome. Good job.
Well, I'll
Oh,
just
that's
take,
not my department. That's just what we've got to collect, so.
Well, let me just take the opportunity to say it's a good thing that you're hosting, because this is a chance for the other 28 county treasurers to come learn from the best treasurer in the state. Thank you.
There are some wonderful treasures that I've associated with. There will be some meetings that I hope I can get some people that can maybe do some introductions. I'll be in touch with you in a couple of days. But thank you guys very much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have our public defender, Mike McGinnis, to give us a presentation. Thank you for coming, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, council, for having me. I appreciate this.
here every other, you got your money again.
Maybe. I'm going to present the council a problem, and if you could see any other way to resolve the problem, I'm open to that. I would like to hear the issues, so.
Chase Butters got it. Chase Butters.
Is that the right one? Ah, there we go. This is why I don't you do PowerPoints during closing arguments. You always have technical problems. Anyways, since the last time I came to see you, I hope not to see you so quickly. In March, the council approved a additional public defender contract, which we desperately need. Since then, we've had some issues filling that position. And also, I was notified that we'd be losing a public defender here coming in July. So I just kind of want to go over a little bit first with the structure of our office, just in case you guys aren't aware of that. All attorneys in the office are contracts except for myself. There are 5 attorneys with public defender contracts, and currently the base contract amount is $6,500 per month, which is $78,000 a year. And the last time that was changed was in 2015. This is the grants we receive from what's called the IDC, the Indian Defense Commission. We just recently finished our grant this year, and at the bottom there, we were awarded. This is the first new grant we've gotten in 3 years. We have a new conflict attorney position. So that would be a part-time position. They are allowed to bill hourly off that $50,000 amount. So that's a position we have to fill. So that'd be a part-time position. And then administrative assistant, that's my assistant who's paid entirely by the grant. Then we have a drug and mental health court grant, which is paid for entirely by that, $78,000. Then we also got an increase on our part-time juvenile defender grant. And that went at $5,000 this year as well. This is the structure of how the court, kind of what we do. I'm currently assigned to Judge Fonsbeck in district court. Mr. Saxton, who is the attorney that we're losing, is assigned to Judge Walsh. Then we have Judge Cannell, also in district court, and we have Attorney Holdaway. If you go down, we have 2 juvenile court judges. Within juvenile court, there's two matters they handle. They handle juvenile delinquency and child welfare. Those are the cases where involve children, their parents are being in trouble for abuse or neglect. Our primary juvenile defender is attorney Mr. Perry. You can see Mr. Perry appears in those courts regularly. Mr. Saxton, part-time, appears in juvenile court. And he bills hourly off that. We also have a conflict attorney, Attorney Matthews, who helps us in the delinquency department. Mr. Perry is also involved in involuntary commitments. Those are where we have individuals that have mental health and are being civilly committed to the state hospital. Mr. Perry covers that, and the county actually pays for that. It's a civil area as well. So is also the child welfare. I don't think the county probably is aware. That's a civil issue that is dealt with the state. For example, we don't have a county prosecutor on the other side. We have an attorney general on the other side. Then we have drug court and mental health court. That's where Mr. Demler helps us, and he also is a part-time juvenile defender. So these are the 3 positions that we currently need to fill. We have a regular district court contract that Mr. Saxon holds at this point and no longer will be there in July. Then we have the new contract created in March. Then we have the new grant-funded attorney, which would be part-time. So we need to find 3 attorneys to help with the backlog. Right now, there's a nationwide attorney shortage. I think if you Google attorneys or attorney shortage, you're going to find many of the same articles. Let me go back here.
I thought there were too many attorneys.
Hey, prayers have probably been answered. We must be living righteously. Anyway, This is what I've been doing to fill the contract, of getting it out there. I've been posting the positions on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, the bar website, IDC, KSL. I've emailed it to the local bar, which means all the local attorneys have a copy of the position. And I've had a total of 3 applicants. And I've had one person that I've interviewed. I mean, the other 2 applicants were, in my opinion, were not qualified to do this. These aren't positions that we can hire a new attorney out of law school to do. They have to be a seasoned attorney that has handled criminal cases before, because we're just handing them, we're gonna give somebody 200 cases and say, go get it. There's no oversight as far as how the cases are done. They need to know what they're doing. We don't have the structure at this point to develop attorneys right out of law school. Yeah.
Why is Mr. Saxton leaving?
Mr. Saxton is leaving because of some of the things I'm going to talk about. Stress, case backlog. He can make more money in the private sector than he's making in doing this. Less stress of having to deal with difficult clients. Some of the people we deal with are very difficult people. Think about it, these are the same people that the officers deal with, that they arrest and have guns at the time. And we invite those people into our office. So it's a demanding position. It can wear on you. I don't think the COVID for the last 2 years, the courts aren't fully open yet. And I think Mr. Saxton just was fed up. And I've heard the same complaints from a lot of the other defenders as well. I mean, again, articles all over the country, attorney shortage, cases are being delayed across the country to shortage of defense attorneys. In the civil arena, big law firms can't find enough lawyers. And these are another system facing attorney shortage. This is in our home backyard here, attorney shortage. The Salt Lake County Public Defender's Office is down 20 attorneys. I just had a meeting last week with other managing defenders. They're all down looking for attorneys. That means we're competing with Weber County, Davis County, and Salt Lake for public defenders.
The backlog is just
Yeah,
increasing.
it's increasing because we're still not getting as many trial dates. I just set a trial this week. We're setting trials next year. I'm setting trials in March.
So I actually went, one thing was I was assigned the public defender's office for the county. The other thing was I never knew if I was gonna need his services or not, so it was a good thing for me to show up in his office, right? But when I was there, basically all of their clients were in jail. They were doing, and there was a few in the room. But I think it shocked me that you set a trial for June of 2023, and that was the first time it was there. And it's not like that backlog's going away. That's the backlog coming, and people aren't stopping to commit crimes to allow them to catch up. I mean, it was actually shocking to me.
And the big issue is, I have a trial set all the time. So all the time I'm preparing for a trial. So you can't trying to prepare a trial and handle new cases, that's the issue. There's just not enough time or ability to do that. So these are the factors, I think, causing the shortage. There's fewer law school graduates. These are out of the articles I searched, and I would agree with them. There's less law school graduates, salary and funding, high caseloads, backlog of poor work-life balance. All the defenders work 6 days a week. I work every Sunday. I go to the jail for 6 hours. So, and that's not uncommon for all the defenders to do that. Let's go down to some proposals. I'm open to ideas. My advice at this point, we have to make this attractive to whatever attorneys we have out there that want to do this. And this is a need, not a want. If we don't have people to fill these contracts, I'm going to go into what happens if you don't have people to fill the contracts. But my suggestion is we need to increase the public defender contract amount. That would be a short-term resolution. I think that just kind of is we're putting a finger in the dam that's about ready to go. My suggestion for a long-term situation, and this is not an immediate thing, I think we need to create a plan to restructure the public defender's office to have a similar structure as the county attorney's office. I think by doing that, we can have a place to develop new attorneys, make it attractive to work there. I think in filling or hiring people, if they knew that they were county employees, did not have to have their own office, did not have to run their own business at the same time, it'd be much more attractive to come do this. But now each attorney has their own office, they have to pay their own bills. That's what I'm going into next. This is the restructure, my suggestion, is the formal organization, office space, investigators, support staff. Again, similar to the budget of the county attorney's office and structure. So out of that $6,500, this is what each offender has to deal with. They have to pay rent for their office, which ranges, I mean, it can be anywhere from $500 to $1,500. Internet and phone, utilities, support staff costs, supplies, all office equipment, and taxes. When I was doing this, I would be left around $3,000, and that's before paying taxes. This is a CPI inflation calculator from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is hard to see. I have another slide after this, but I punched this in. $6,500 in 2015 today would be $8,040.87. Now, something interesting, I did this a month ago, and it was $7,900. That's just how fast inflation's going up. So that's what $6,500 is worth today. My suggestion to make the contract, we're going to get applicants, we need to be somewhere around $8,500 a month. Other places I've seen it at $8,000 or $7,900. To make this attractive to people that have to move here and establish an office, they're going to need something more than what's going out there within Weber County, Davis County, or the other counties that we're competing with.
Mike?
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you know how much Weber County is paying?
They have a different structure. A lot of the public defender's office have 2 public defenders per judge. So they pay, so the caseload's less, they pay about what we're paying. So they'll have half the caseload though, per judge. So they'll have 2 public defenders per judge, so they'll pay $6,500 a month what we're paying, but they have half the cases.
Okay, thank you.
So the other places, like Grand County, the ad I saw was $7,900. Davis County, I believe, is paying around $7,900 for the contracts.
Okay, thanks.
Mike,
Are
those,
they I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, are they employees of of Weber County and Grand County and?
That's a great question. So as of right now, there's not a real official public defender's office. They have legal defenders out of Salt Lake. They're a nonprofit organization. They're not county employees. Weber County just hired a managing defender like me, and they approved a budget for 2 county employees. So they're in the process of hiring those individuals right now. But most places, they do not have county employees. They're all contract employees. I see the trend going to having a situation. Utah is one of the only states that has mostly a contract system. A lot of states do have contract system, but it's mostly in the rural areas, but they usually are county employees or state employees.
Just one
Sure.
question that comes to mind. But making the county defenders basically in the same realm as the county attorneys, are we facing any kind of a conflict of interest?
That is a potential issue. I think because John is an elected official and outside my department of the county, I think that would be something that would avoid the conflict. If we were under the same department, I think that would be an issue. But I'll let John maybe weigh in on that and see what he thinks. But I wanted to,
Mike?
yeah.
Paul?
one quick question on just maybe to delve into the Weber County a little bit more. So they have half the caseload, they're independent contractors, so then they have maybe the capacity to take on some additional outside work too, to supplement, rather than up here with 200 cases per judge. You really, in order to do a decent job, not only can't even take on any work, you can't even do the work that you already have.
Correct. I mean, that's the way this is supposed to be set up, is this is supposed to be a part-time position, how our was set up. We're supposed to be able to do this part-time, have time to make more money taking private work, doing divorces or whatnot. it is exploded now to the point that it is not part-time work. This is full-time work. We're working, like I said, 50, 60 hours a week just to keep up. So that is a big transition that I've seen since I've been here. I've been here 6 years, 7 years. So let's see here. I wanted to play a video for you real quick. So we talked about worst case scenario earlier. There's other parts of this country that are facing worst case scenario. Try to do that. Try this way. Do it that way.
Aren't enough public defenders to take cases.
Our Liz Birch is digging deeper into this dynamic. She joins us live. And Liz, what are we learning about the shortage?
Public Defender's Office just told me they estimate that the court has dismissed about 40 cases because of lack of a defense attorney. Now, the district attorney's office tells me they objected to those dismissals. The executive director of Metropolitan Public Defenders explains if the state charges someone with a crime, that person, of course, presumed innocent and has a constitutional right to a lawyer. So without counsel, their due process rights would be violated. So without enough public defenders for those cases, some minor felonies right now are being dismissed.
Have you guys lost a lot of public defenders recently, or is it just that there are so many new cases that you can't handle the amount there are?
It's a combination of multiple factors. So number one, public defense in Oregon has historically been underfunded and under-resourced, and the system is overloaded. The pandemic exacerbated an already untenable situation where caseloads were already extremely high and almost at excessive levels coming into the pandemic, but then the backlog that was created during the pandemic exacerbated that.
So he tells me pre-pandemic public defenders would usually have between 60 to 90 cases. That number rose to 130 in January. In a statement to COIN, District Attorney Mike Schmidt said in part, quote, until our...
See if I can get out of this. Come back up. Okay. They said 130 cases, they were at the brink, is at crisis mode. This is the average district court public defender. They handled 250 cases, felony misdemeanors last year. Wow. I just wanted to give you that perspective. I personally did 268 cases. So we're already at the brink. We're at the point where that losing a defender, we're already behind the 8 ball here. So, and this is from that article. It talks about a lawsuit from the ALCU in Maine. Maine mainly had a contract system like we do. But yeah, this is all over the country. This burden that we're feeling is here. But so my asking the council tonight is, we're at a situation where I have about 6 weeks to find somebody. And I've offered the position to somebody else, and again, the amount wasn't enough. I'm hoping to raise that amount and then reoffer that position to that individual. And right now, we have 2 defenders that have been doing this for 25 years. I'm anticipating that at any moment, one of those defenders is going to say, I'm pretty much done with this, and hit retirement. So, and then also, in the next year or two, we're going to have another situation with legislation that's being passed about the local court system that's going to fall under our lap and in the public defenders and the county attorney's office. A lot of the justice courts are probably going to be taken, the B and C misdemeanors are going to be handled in district court, which would be under the umbrella of the county and the public defender's office and the county attorney's office. So if we don't get ahead of this now, I'm concerned that this will, snowball and become a crisis. But anyway, thank you for your time. And I wanted to see if John had to say anything to say about this as well.
I'd like to make a couple.
Please do. Mike, I do have one question. Sure. By not having the proper defenders and that we need, how will that affect cases, say, 4 years down the road and different things like that?
So if we do not have proper defenders, every case, serious case especially, those are the types of the cases that get appealed. Ineffective assistance of counsel. Those are the kind of cases. I don't think a lot of people that aren't in the court system don't realize that John and I have the same interests. If he doesn't have enough prosecutors, we can't get through cases. If he doesn't have enough defenders, he can't get through cases. The judges, they have the same interest. This is the wheels of justice have to turn, and both of us have to be able to do that. And if that part of it isn't taken care of, then the whole system just comes to an end. So.
Thank you.
Mike, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So were you asking for us to change the budget for next year, or were you asking for this year?
Good question.
Like, do you want it
Good
to
question.
do a budget request change for a budget opening?
I think we have enough in our budget to last. If the council would approve me raising the amount at this point, and then maybe make a request at a future budget opening. That would be how I would like to handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mike ended there talking about ineffective assistance of counsel, and this request is not, as he said, not just for defendants. This request is for the system, and I completely support this request, and if anything, think it may not be aggressive enough of a request. For our system, we have an adversarial system that depends on two sides coming at each other, and the truth, hopefully, and we trust almost all the time coming out of that. But if you don't have both sides fully engaged, then the integrity of the system is at stake. And so the integrity of our prosecutions, of our convictions, is at stake, because ineffective assistance of counsel is the claim that defendants can make that my attorney messed up. And you can have a good defense attorney, but if you miss an objection that you should have made, or any of a number of things, that conviction can be overturned on appeal because you had ineffective assistance of counsel. So for the sake of the integrity of our convictions, we want to have adequate counsel on the other side, and not just adequate in terms of experience and capability, but who can adequately prepare for each case. To expand the picture a little bit in terms of trial settings, everyone knows that most cases don't go to trial, they end up settling. And so what's happening right now is that when there's a stretch of days in September, whenever a judge has some days that they could hold a trial, they're setting 4 different trials on that same day, anticipating that maybe 2 or 3 of them will settle before that day, and then that 4th trial will go to trial. That means that our prosecutors and defenders, until those cases settle, which often is at the last minute, are preparing for 4 trials at the same time. It didn't used to be that way. It was common to have 2 deep settings, but the fact that we're at 4 deep settings and having to set clear out for a year from now, that this is going to take a long time to move the backload along. It's hard to work with counsel that is not good either because of inexperience or lack of aptitude, or just if they are too busy. Prosecution is easier. Defending is easier when you have that other counsel on the other side that you can work with and not have to, when they file a motion, try to figure out what they're saying, kind of thing. We need good defenders. So I want to do, I should have told you, just identify three things. One is this request helps the whole system, including prosecution. There's a fairness issue here. When we have hired new attorneys right out of law school, which we can do because we have a larger team to help bring them along, under our current pay system with HR, we're able to start them in the low 70s, $72-ish thousand a year on salary. And then we provide them a legal assistant, full benefits, and an office. And as Mike pointed out, they're making 78 right now for experienced attorneys with no help on their office on top of that, no benefits on top of that, no legal assistant on top of that. There's a fairness issue that they ought to be paid something comparable. And my third point is we are on the edge of a cliff. Mike needs to fill 2 full-time slots, and it's been impossible. The news report that he showed, in that jurisdiction, the judges started dismissing cases. I tend to think that our judges here would instead start appointing counsel from other attorneys in the valley, and the county would still get to pay for that indigent defense. But we'd be paying at $250 an hour, or whatever our local attorneys, private attorneys are paying. I think they'd move to dismissing cases as a last resort. Instead, the county would be on the hook for paying those large hourly fees. So fully support this. I agree that long-term probably ought to be looking at bringing public defenders under the umbrella of the county, which can be done since the county attorney position is elected and has independence there. There would then be a wall between the offices, and the public defender is hired by the executive, and there's a different, we would not interact in that way. That can be done with it and avoid the conflict. Did you have a question, Dave? Looked like. Oh, okay.
Thank you, John.
Yes,
All right, okay.
Thank you again, I agree.
Thank you, Mike.
with everything he said.
So, yeah, any other questions for either Mike or John?
I just make a couple comments on this. I mean, we're a nation of laws, number one. And government has some prescribed roles. Now, I have a staunch record of being really kind of a budget hawk, but government has some prescribed roles. And we can do a lot of fun things. You know, we can spend $1 million on a new building and make it all pretty and nice and happy. But that's not what government does. We're a nation of laws. And people can have unfair accusations against them and need to defend themselves. And then some people actually committed the crimes, but they need a defense. And so this is a hugely important thing. So I think we should make sure that before we go out and do other things, we take care of what government actually should be doing. Roads, law enforcement, and part of that is public defense. So I would strongly advocate to use the money that we have available for what we should be doing before we go out and do some things that we may think look cool.
I agree with that, and I know this is very serious. I appreciate you coming forward with that, and
Barbara, I'm just wondering, and these two would be the ones that would answer the question. We'll be having a compensation meeting with our HR people. Are they fully aware of what you're saying, so that it can come before the committee, the compensation committee, before we meet in about 2 weeks?
These are outside contractors, so they wouldn't be overseen by the compensation.
That's what I was going to say. If you're inviting us to come and ask for the prosecutors to get a raise too, we'll come to the compensation committee.
Yeah. No,
but yeah, they're outside contractors, which I think is.
So that's why we've never heard from them before.
Exactly. This is, and in fact, I thought of saying that they've got to come and ask, or it doesn't get on somebody's radar. And frankly, we're grateful that Mike is here to ask, because it's needed to be asked.
No, I'm grateful that you created my position. Before, we never had a voice at the table, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, you know, here a few months ago, you started calling me on the phone. So I hit the county attorney up, and he didn't have a clue what's going on, and now I understand.
Makes perfect sense. Well, thank you again.
Thank you, Mike.
What's the
Well, is-
proper
What, yeah,
process?
what's the
say,
process
is it
that we
appropriate?
need to go
I
through?
mean,
Yeah.
Budgets, money's already there.
Uh-huh.
Can we make a motion right now to approve changing that contract amount to $8,500?
I'll
Can we do
second
that,
that
John?
motion
Yeah,
if it's proper.
okay.
Does
I'll
that
make
not
that
have to go
motion.
through budget process?
It does not. I still have money in my budget to pay that till we can make a budget request.
But we do need to consider it for next year's budget.
So he
Gotcha.
has, yeah, so he has that.
It'd be later
pocket
this-
of mo- You have your pocket of money in your expenditure account. All you're doing is raising it from 65 to 85, but once you hit that limit and don't inappropriately transfer money from one expenditure account to another, you're good to go.
Right, okay.
What he's saying is, he has enough money to make it to the next mid-year budget adjustment.
Okay.
But at the next mid-year budget adjustment, there would need to be an increase.
That's correct.
I'm glad you're asking for your money while you
Yeah,
still have some.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Anyway, my motion stands and been seconded.
okay, we have a motion, and it has been seconded to approve the increase from 6,500 to 8,500. Is that correct, Mike? Okay, all in favor? Yes, David?
My one question is, in doing this, you feel very, very confident that we'll be able to then land someone else to
Yes.
start filling those positions.
That's a good point. I am confident that raising the amount is going to give us the best chance to do that. I had offered it,
And keep, maybe incentivize and keep at least the ones that we have.
yes.
So
Yes.
we're still in a quandary in some ways.
We-
but-
We are. This is a Band-Aid, yes. And this may not attract, and if it doesn't, I'm going to come talk to the council again if we have, let's see if this works.
Through this budget process, I want to jerk the Band-Aid off and let's really look at it.
Yeah,
Okay, that's great.
very good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. All right. Motion's been presented and seconded to raise the amount from 6,500 to 8,500, probably immediately, where it's in his budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. All right, we are past 5:30, so we need to get to our public hearings. First one is set a public hearing for June 14th, 2022, ordinance 2022-17, the Woodbrae rezone. Request to rezone 10.0 acres from the agricultural A10 zone to the rural 2 RU2 zone located at 721 North Highway 23 near Mendon.
Madam Chair, I'd move that we set the public hearing for ordinance 2022-17 for the Woodbrae rezone on June 14th.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we set a public hearing for June 14th, 2022 for ordinance 2022-17, the Woodbrae rezone. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right. Now we're going to have a public hearing for the second CDBG public hearing, and I have a statement that I've been asked to read. The purpose of this hearing is to allow all citizens to provide input concerning a project that was awarded funding under the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program. The county applied for funds on behalf of the Children's Justice Center project, purchase of a vehicle for use outside of Logan City. The Children's Justice Center is located at 339 East, 800 North, Logan, Utah, 84321. The managers of this project are Terrell Warner, Director of the Children's Justice Center, and Alma Burgess, County Grant Manager. The Children's Justice Center project was awarded $47,965. And now I'm going to give a few minutes to Terrell to explain the project. All right?
I'm looking at Alma.
Oh, okay. Was it Alma or yourself?
But I'm stroked, so I don't remember.
So this is basically for a vehicle. There are a lot of times that we have victims, especially from Rich County, that need to be brought over here for interviews. They need to be taken to different places. This would be a vehicle that would be used to transport victims to and from that don't have a way to get to the CJC outside of Logan. The bus system doesn't work in a lot of areas. There's still some areas that it doesn't work. Or if we need to do a late interview, we can do it late. And we can take them to the hospital if they need to be taken to the hospital.
Okay.
What kind of vehicle is it?
Yeah.
What did we put? It was an SUV, smaller SUV, that seats 6 or 7 people, in case we have to take a family.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions or comments for Terrell?
My question is, this is the purchase of it. How about thereafter?
Well, I will be coming to the county council for the mileage. We will get some VOCA funding for mileage.
Okay.
Okay.
So, like we have. Insurance, though, would need to be, VOCA won't cover insurance.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions, comments? All right.
Are there any from the public?
Yeah. Do we have anything from the public?
Move to close the public hearing.
Okay. Been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. If any are here, that you were here specifically for the CDBG hearing, please sign a special roll over here. Okay? All right. That's all I need to do? Okay. We do not have any Board of Equalization matters, no pending matters. Initial proposals for consideration of action, quarterly joint meeting with the Planning Commission. Chris, have we had any response back or anything on that we need to know about?
That request will be going out to council and commission in the next day or two.
Okay.
To set the date, we are anticipating the middle to the end of June. Sometime in there, we're trying to work with that schedule.
Okay.
And the basis still will be to set that date and then to send out the question to the council members as to what you feel the priorities are for the commission and the council moving forward, specific to those land use issues. Okay. And then addressing that as a joint body to kind of come to the same conclusion.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Chris. We'll be looking for that. There has been an item brought to my attention. Everyone, I am assuming, had a chance to look at the letter from Logan City concerning the
Waste.
the waste, yes, solid waste. And there were 2 letters sent. And the reason for the 2 letters is, John, if you will please explain that. I think you could do it, give it more justice than how I can explain it.
You'll see my amazing diagram here. This is the way this works with service area number 1 and waste collection. Service area number 1 contracts with Logan City to provide, well, let's start on the other side. Service area number 1 has a separate contract with all of the cities in the valley and with the county, and the contract says service area number 1 will provide waste collection service for all of you. And then service area number 1 turns around and has contracted with Logan City to then provide that on behalf of service area number 1 for everybody. So Logan just submitted a letter saying, we're giving our year notice that we're going to quit providing that service for service area number 1. And they submitted a separate letter saying, here's our year notice that we don't need that service area or that service from service area number 1. We're giving notice of cancellation of both contracts. That now triggers the need for service area number 1 to give notice to all of the other cities and to the county that as of next June 1st, service area number 1 is no longer going to be providing service. In order to do that, we need service area number 1 to notice a public meeting, get together and vote to give notice of cancellation. So I'm going to be real popular to say here before the end of the month and before Barbara leaves on Friday, we need you to convene after public notice as the Board of Service Area number 1 and vote to give notice of cancellation of these contracts. So if you could find a time in the next 2-3 days to convene here, at least a quorum of you, with 24 hours notice in advance to the public to take that vote, that would be great.
Thank you, John.
I like your diagram, John.
Yeah. All right, council. When would you like to get together? And let's get it done.
Well, I'm out from Thursday through Monday.
Okay.
Can we do it tomorrow too soon after the impound facility tour or what?
There needs to be 24 hours notice given to the public. So Janine, tomorrow morning, first thing, can you get notice out in the morning? How?
I could get it out tonight, but it's still not 24 hours, is it?
Right. So
Unless 7 p.m.
I think the
We could do
earliest
6
you,
o'clock.
I think the earliest you could now meet is probably on Thursday.
Thursday.
sometime, but you only need a quorum.
Okay.
I'll be here Thursday morning, but I'm leaving
Okay.
Thursday.
I'll be here Thursday.
I will be here Thursday, and I could meet between 1 and 4 on Thursday.
I think I can be here on Thursday. So
I can make that work.
And you just need a quorum. I won't.
And we did, okay.
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
And you're leaving Thursday, Carl? Thursday morning. So we would have Gina, myself, Dave, Nolan, Gordon. All right, so that would have we would have 5.
After 1
Yes,
and before.
4.
let's plan on 4.
4 o'clock?
That way it gives Nolan.
We could do it
a
earlier,
meeting.
that'd be better.
Okay. What time would you prefer, David?
3 or 2?
1 o'clock would be great.
Okay, let's do 1 o'clock then.
Can you do 1 o'clock, Nolan?
4 would be hard for me on Thursday,
Okay,
personally, but you still have a quorum without me.
Nolan?
I have an appointment, but I'll see if I can move it, so
Could you attend electronically?
probably. So, yeah, set it at 1, I'll either be here electronically, so.
Thursday at 1 o'clock?
I could probably
Maybe
call
we gotta
in
do it.
if we do
Does 4 work
electronically.
better for everybody else?
It doesn't matter to me, Dave, so,
Doesn't matter
Why
to
don't
me
we
either.
just do it electronically at 4? That's
I could do
done
it.
that for
We
years.
still have to meet so many of them.
yeah, we still have to meet with so many of us
4
here.
works better for you, let me
Oh.
see how I can shuffle, you keep your appointment.
Well, I
Do
can
you know what? I think electronically, the Board of Service Area number 1 has not adopted its own resolution for electronic meetings. So I
Okay,
think you do need a quorum that can meet here in person.
okay.
If it isn't
So
more than
if you've got
15.
4 of you,
John says we can do it in 5 minutes.
you just need to convene, take 1 vote.
Okay,
So we back to 1 o'clock?
Send things.
4 will work for me if we can get it in 5 minutes, that'd be great.
okay.
I'm trying hard to get it right
And
in
if
my
I have to
mind. Are we
dress-
doing 1 or 4?
Would 3:30 be better, David?
Yeah.
Okay, is 3:30 good for everyone?
I can make 3:30.
Okay, let's do 3:30
Can you make 3:30?
In person.
in person here.
Okay.
Dave, that works for you? Because I can go earlier, if you need it earlier.
3:30 is fine.
Okay, we're going to meet here Thursday at 3:30.
5 minutes, hit and run, that's.
Okay. Thank you, John. And thank you, council. Very good. All right. Remember, we're doing the tour of the county impound facility tomorrow at 2 for those of you who can make it. I talked to Sheriff Jensen today, and we're meeting at the impound facility. He'll meet us there.
They're gonna open the gate for you, Gordon.
Yeah. Okay.
All that we had to have an all-terrain vehicle to even get in there. Have you seen a little approach into that?
Yeah.
I went past and looked at it. It's a little rough yet.
Okay. Oh, and he did say to wear shoes that you don't mind getting dusty or dirty because there's a lot of dirt out there, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Then we have the Nibley Heritage Days Parade, Saturday, June 18th. Anyone interested in going to that?
I will be out of town again, I'm sorry.
I could probably attend.
I should go, but I know I'll be out of town too.
Okay.
We'll let Dave go, that's his area. No, it's not anymore. Is it? You used to always be to the Nibley stuff. Now you kind of don't live there and
All right.
you're excused.
We'll put my name down right now and go on. Council member reports. Councilman Erickson, we'll begin with you.
I just want one more reminder on, I asked the question last time about a whistleblower policy. Has anything been looked at about that at all?
Yeah, I looked at the state code. There's a pretty comprehensive state code on the coverage with.
Which is built in part of it, everything.
Say that again?
It's part of, if it's state code, then we should
have-
be adhering by it, right?
Correct. There's an opportunity within state code for the council to establish a little bit more procedure. It's fully functioning under the state code. The state code is designed so that that is sufficient. I can come and report further if you'd like on what more the county can do to supplement the state code.
Yeah, I just want to make sure our employees are covered in every way. Feel free to be able to speak.
State code is sufficient for them to be able to do that. If the county wants to establish some additional or alternative procedure, you can do that too.
Okay, and then should I bring up the joint meeting?
Please.
We talked last time about meeting with the Logan City Council, talk garbage.
That sounds fun on its own.
Talk trash. Talk garbage, talk trash.
We'll do the trash talking, I'll be there, when is it?
Anyway, they, after talking with Jeannie Simmons, she is then calling Janine to see if they can arrange time. And we're talking a short 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Just sit down, look at each other, and really not get into all of the details and rehash a bunch of things, but just say, hey, where do we go from here? You know, so that we're on the, so everyone just knows in both councils where we're directed, what we should be directing to do, where should we be, we kind of know anyway, but it'd be great to have them look at us and say, hey, this is what we're doing, why we're doing it, and us to say, okay, and this is what we need to do.
Okay, very good.
And if they have any asks, they will. There might be a short little presentation from the one gentleman that's attended.
Issa?
From Utah, no, from USU. What are their names?
Chris Fossen.
And there's two of them. One's anyway, they might have a little presentation as to how it could come together if we wanted.
Okay.
Would be good to have the mayors attend at the same time.
I think that they would like to invite at least representatives or anyone. It'll be an open meeting, so it'd be great if they could. We ought to, but as far as when to have that, we've got so many people out. They're talking maybe the last couple of weeks of June, if that. And they'll
Okay.
send out a doodle poll type thing as to when we can hold that, but it doesn't, it should not be a big, long meeting, but I think they felt too, that we just, let's sit down with each other and let's just talk trash, so.
Very good. Thanks, Dave, for taking that over. I appreciate that.
On the same page.
May I ask, based on those letters from Logan, weren't we talking it was gonna be December of 2023, and now this says June? What's the difference there?
No, that's the original.
Is it the original? I thought it was December.
Contract, yeah.
Because that's what the legislative process is set for. So.
Good. Is that it?
Under those contracts, they have to give a 1-year notice in writing, so that it couldn't be any earlier than May 24th, and they've said it. First.
Is that it? Dan?
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Gordy, do you have anything?
Yes, I'd like to report to the council that I've now went out to lunch with Executive Zook, our other two people that's there with him, Sean. I spent quite a little time with Sean on Monday, and he had a lot of questions for me about what direction he should go, and I looked at him and I said, you know, Sean, I am really not very strong in community development and that kind of stuff, so you probably are going to have to share with me what your job is and some of your ideas. And it was very informative to me, and he was very gracious and tried to bring me up to speed. I talk cows and he talks cities, which made it a little bit different. But I really encourage all of the council, if you can find time, to make an appointment to go out to lunch with these individuals and whoever else you'd like to go out with. I think they appreciate it. I just invited John to set a date, and we're going to go talk cows and attorneys, and that should be a really interesting thing.
It's both bull crap.
But the one thing I noticed when...
I lied.
One thing that I encourage the council to do it is it gives you an opportunity to sit across the table and in a casual setting, enjoying good food. It gives you an opportunity to both answer questions and to ask questions. And I just really think it was a very productive time to do that. I encourage you all to do it. I really do.
It's great.
I think it
that's great.
it would help all of us to become more of a cooperating team, and an opportunity to learn personalities and to ask questions and have answers given. So that was one thing that I'm glad I did it. I really am. Had a good visit with David Zook, and it was good. I appreciated them taking the time with it, and we've hit 3 different restaurants. We went to Angie's, and we went to Sizzlers, and we went to Chuckarama. So if anyone's got any suggestions for John and I to go try, we'll do that.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Black Bear.
Yeah.
I think he and I could eat all the food they serve you at Black Bear. Anyway, other than that, I'm just grateful for the council. I'm glad that we are doing the things that we're doing. There's some things that maybe seem a little controversial to the county staff, but if you look at what the direction is and what wants to be done, if we're open and we can support it, it will be a positive instead of a negative reception, and that's what I hope that we'll have come both on our part and the part of the county department heads, that maybe we'll start doing a little auditing. And I told Paul when we visited that an audit always comes across as negative, and when really, if you're a department head, an audit should be welcomed, because then all of a sudden you get to show what you're doing, what you've done, and at the end, you walk away from the audit knowing that you've got a clean bill of health, and that's positive, and that's the way we should always look at an audit. It's not a bring you to task, but it's to verify and commend you for the job you do. And so that's about all I have.
Thank you, Gordy. Appreciate that.
Barbara will
Yes.
appreciate this. When the bank examiners would come through, we called them the people who came through after the battle and bayoneted the wounded.
Yeah.
That's bad.
But I agree with you, Gordy. Even those, when I would walk in the door and could see the auditors sitting there, my heart, but I was really glad to have an audit done. I really was.
It's all over and everything's out on the table.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling to be through it.
It is. All right, Nolan, comments?
I have 3 things. One, I attended the meeting with a bunch of people this week on the receiving center for the behavioral health group. Hopefully there won't be much committed from county, because I don't think we have a lot, but it seems like the state is ready to help us a lot. So that will be good. Second of all, I want to give a shout out to Chris Rild and Tim Watkins. I had a chance this week with some issues we had to meet with them, and they're great staff. And that would bring up one point, as we meet with a joint group, I brought up before, I think water needs to be talked out there, and water is an issue that we try to skirt because it's a state issue, but I think it's an issue that we need to be talking about. If we don't talk about it now, we're going to be screaming about where is it. So I don't know how, if Chris or Tim has any idea, or John Luthi, but something needs to be opening that path that we discuss about that as a county. So just those points. And third of all, Flippa forgot.
We can come back to you.
Salsa bar, there was something about a salsa bar.
It wasn't salsa. And it wasn't dance either, so.
Wasn't what time to plant tomatoes, was it?
No, so, and my wife was an Aggiette, so she loves dance, so she married their own guy, so.
There you go.
All right, thank you. Paul?
Well, I didn't have much other than, once Gordon said, I figured I'd second his. I met with Executive Zook January 18th, and we had a long meeting then, so it's always good to go in and meet with people.
Great. Gina?
In between, I went ahead and called State Auditor John Dugal about the issue regarding the tentative budget. Because I had understood things differently when we were working on SB 162, and I had come in toward the end. So I asked him about participation, and he said that it was to give the legislative body a seat at the table to be able to listen in and hear the different reasons for things in the budget, and that it wouldn't be for the legislative body to make changes at that point. So I just wanted to clarify that. I also spoke to Seth Ovison, who's also with the auditor's office, and he said as far as the raw data from the the departments turning in on those forms, he believes that yes, the council can have those specific forms sent to them, or the electronic, whatever, that we have the ability to have access to that rather than a report later made, that we may have access to that raw data. So I just wanted to clarify those conversations while they were still on our minds.
Thank you.
And that's everything.
Carl?
Nothing of any import.
Okay, great.
I apologize for not being able to be there tomorrow. And
fine.
There's like I said, I drove past there on Tuesday, and it's still a work in process.
Good.
Facility.
Okay, thank you, Carl. I have two things. I need to make you aware that on June 14th, we will be having a workshop concerning the opioid settlement. And Jordan Mathis will be coming in and making a presentation, so be aware of that.
Is that a workshop or is that an executive?
That is a workshop.
Or
And-
could I just expand on that?
Yes,
slightly?
please do.
Question.
Please do.
It's the, it won't be about the litigation that is continuing on, but there was that settlement with some of the parties, and so there's going to be money coming in, and Jordan will be presenting ideas of how best to use that opioid settlement money within the parameters of the agreement.
Okay, thank you, John. And then I just wanted to, I know the sheriff's not here, but I had a great time at the dinner that he had at the event center. So, and that's all I have to say. Anybody else? Meeting is adjourned.